In the demolition and construction industry, we'll spend months assessing a new excavator, crunching the numbers on purchase price, fuel usage, maintenance, owning and operating costs, rebuild potential, and resale value. We'll fret over depreciation, part supply, operator comfort, emissions, and increasingly the environmental toll of building a new machine versus keeping an old one running. It's a thorough, almost obsessive analysis. And that obsession is appreciated, questioned, debated, and discussed at length by the operators expected to drive the machines chosen by their colleagues. In fact, operators will make a further analysis weighing up more personal factors such as comfort, ease of operation, visibility, and other features to make their working lives just a little bit easier. Given all the analysis that goes into selecting and specifying a machine, it seems odd that the same level of scrutiny is often not applied to an equally vital and comfort driven item: sight boots. It makes no sense because sight boots are part of our safety culture, our safety infrastructure. They're as vital to a worker's protection as a ROPS FOPS cab, a demolition guard, or a hard hat. Yet far too often, people pick footwear on price alone, as though the smallest saving matters more than comfort, durability, or protection. Now, believe it or not, this tendency to scrimp on boots is the subject of an actual economic theory called, not surprisingly, the boots theory of economics. That theory actually makes an appearance in the Terry Pratchett novel Men at Arms. In the book, Captain Sam Vimes is standing in his worn through boots, noticing that the really good leather boots cost a lot more up front, but last for years, whereas the cheap ones leak, wear out fast, and need replacing constantly. Over a long stretch of time, the expensive pair actually costs less. What's more, you don't spend countless hours trudging in damp boots, suffering fatigue, pain, and reduced productivity. Vime's point is that what looks like frugality in the short run is often waste and poor protection in the long run. Cheaper boots may be tempting because they cost, say, 20 quid or less. That seems like a saving. But once you wear them long enough, the sole thins, waterproofing fails, the stitching unravels. You replace them once, twice, possibly even three times, maybe more, in the period that a quality pair stays serviceable. And if something goes wrong, the cost can be far beyond the few quid saved. Medical treatment, lost days on site, compensation, maybe even long term damage. Beyond that, the frequent replacing of cheap boots, like the premature replacement of an excavator, has environmental consequences. Manufacturing, shipping, disposal, materials that don't last mean more waste. When we buy machinery, we increasingly care about the carbon expended in their manufacture. Why should safety footwear be exempt from that concern? A pair of high quality boots, if well made, resolable, repairable, and built with durable uppers and soles, amortizes its environmental cost over a longer lifespan. Replace often, and the hidden environmental cost adds up. It's also a question of culture. What message does it send when we spec precision tolerances for machines, insist on certified safety guard ratings, doubling down on safety critical parts, yet expect our key workers to trudge around site in footwear that's barely fit for purpose? When we compare the true cost of good boots and cheap boots, not just the sticker price, but the sum of replacements, loss of work, risk injury, environmental impact, the so called hard bargain of the cheap pair dissolves. A higher quality boot may cost more at the point of sale, but per day of wear or per mile walked, it delivers far greater value. Its cost per working day may be just a few pence. Compare that with repeatedly buying inferior pairs with discomfort, injury risk, and constant replacement, and it becomes clear that this is just a false economy. And there's an ethical dimension too. Workers deserve kit that protects them properly, not something that surrenders safety because of cost cutting. If we accept less for boots than we do for machines, we implicitly say that people are less valuable than our equipment. That's not just bad economics, it's a failure of responsibility. Sight boots, like all personal protective equipment, are an investment, not an expense. There's an old adage that says you should always buy a good pair of shoes and a good bed because if you're not in one, you're in the other. Nowhere is that more true than in the field of demolition and construction, where it's not unusual for a worker to have those boots on his or her feet for 12 hours or more each day. And here's the biggest irony of all of this. When it comes to equipment, companies tend to buy the best kit they can afford because their very livelihoods depend upon it. Sensible workers will buy the very best site boots they can afford because they know their safety and comfort depend upon it. But when it comes to selecting a demolition or construction company to carry out a project, the lowest bidder generally gets the gig. Go figure.